Sheng Nan is the only female chef at the hotel, but usually she can only do some basic tasks like peeling potatoes. Today, her colleagues are clamoring for her to make the fried rice that she cooks best. With everyone's encouragement, she boldly starts a small stove. Finally, she lost her secret flavor. She asked her colleague to hold it for her, quickly ran back to get something, but when she turned around, the stove suddenly caught fire. The flames burned intensely. As she was helplessly trying to put out the fire, a man in a suit walked in. Mistaking him for the arsonist, Sheng Nan threw an entire basin of water on him. The man suppressed his anger and triggered the alarm. They were both drenched by the sudden stream of water. Before he left, he conveniently placed the basin on her head. Unsurprisingly, Sheng Nan was apprehended and scolded by the manager of the food service department. At this time, Manager Shun was also implicated and heavily criticized by his boss. He fired Sheng Nan in a fit of anger. And the man who helped Sheng Nan put out the fire happened to be Lu Jin, the chairman of this hotel, who had come to buy it. He is notoriously picky about his food and has tried all the dishes that the hotel chefs have made. None of them satisfied him. At this moment, a colleague switched to Sheng Nan's dish. The splashed water fried rice was brought over. Surprisingly, the chairman finished all of his food and asked what the name of this dish was. The chairman wanted to take the opportunity to meet the chef who made this dish. Manager Shin had no choice but to make the excuse that she was on annual leave. Lu Jin returned to his room, feeling a bit regretful. This simple and pretty girl is playing around in a luxury car, but she never expected to be discovered by a domineering chairman. It turns out that Sheng Nan just found out that her best friend was cheated on and had her money stolen by a scumbag. She has always hated this kind of scumbag. Therefore, she came alone with a hammer in hand to take revenge for her best friend. After she searched around the parking lot, she finally found the scumbag's luxury car, but the Porsche logo directly made her dumbfounded. Sheng Nan foresaw the consequence of smashing it with a hammer. She would be arrested, and her best friend might immediately draw a line with her. The consequences were unimaginable. She was constantly thinking, since she had come here, of course, she wouldn't go back empty-handed. She used her chef skills, made a hole in the luxury car, but she didn't have time to run and received a call from her best friend. At this time, Sheng Nan also realized that she had mistaken the target of her revenge. But just as she was about to jump out of the car and escape, she saw a handsome man appear in front of her. Eyes locked, Sheng Nan panicked immediately. Facing the chairman's interrogation, Sheng Nan had an idea. He saw her strike a seductive pose. Immediately afterward, a string of Korean words came out of her mouth. Sheng Nan pretended to be Korean and even complimented the chairman's luxury car as beautiful. She was just here to take pictures. After speaking, Sheng Nan intended to run away, but unexpectedly, she was stopped by the chairman. Sheng Nan didn't expect the man to know Korean, and he seemed to be very angry with her. This time, Sheng Nan couldn't run. Therefore, she quickly changed, but she was still exposed by the chairman. Sheng Nan acted charming and cute, saying that she would never dare to do it again. But just when she wanted to escape, she was caught again and threatened by the chairman. The chairman told Sheng Nan to call the police and then let her do it one more time. In the car, the girl had no choice but to follow along and was filmed by the chairman in the act. But just when she thought she had escaped a disaster, the chairman asked her to go to the police again. Sheng Nan was really scared now. Sheng Nan wanted to help the chairman wash the luxury car, but it turned out to be even dirtier. Tistime, Sheng Nan was completely out of luck, saying that she was willing to compensate the chairman. He saw her forcefully step closer, leaning towards the chairman, but didn't think about anything else. Sheng Nan only asked him to write the contact information on her forehead. Looking at Sheng Nan's beautiful face, he couldn't help but feel a little moved, but he soon calmed down. The chairman told Sheng Nan to turn around, then left his phone number on her bag, saying that he would only give Sheng Nan half an hour to pay. Otherwise, he would call the police to deal with this matter. After speaking, he prepared to get in the car and leave, but flour flew everywhere. The chairman was furious and threw the lump of dough that she had shaped and drove away. Sheng Nan ran to her best friend's place to complain, but unexpectedly, her best friend not only didn't help her, but also blamed her carelessness for mistaking the car. After speaking, her best friend ignored her and ran away with a guilty conscience. She was angry enough to change tactics, borrowing money from her uncle. She didn't expect that at a critical moment, with a little trick, she was easily caught and kicked out of his studio. Sheng Nan went everywhere and could only pretend to be strong, going to the night market to find her grandfather. Unexpectedly, her grandfather knew that she had been fired and took out some money as a birthday gift for her. She was ashamed to take the money, but he insisted on giving it to her. He also said that when he got older, he could only rely on her in his old age and couldn't rely on her father who was abroad. Seeing her grandfather so sad, she coaxed him to be happy with a few sentences. He stood up and wanted to go out. He specifically asked his granddaughter not to touch his frying spatula. Shengnan readily agreed, turned around, and stir-fried rice noodles for the customers. Coincidentally, today is also Lu Jin's birthday, but this cold and charming chairman, even on his birthday, nobody remembers. He waited until late at night to receive a message from the bank, a message wishing him a happy birthday. He wanted to cook some instant noodles to eat, but his assistant suddenly rushed in and presented a great gift. By the way, he also kindly helped the chairman blow out the candles. Lu Jin sent him away, speechless. Now he couldn't eat anymore. He wanted to go to a high-end restaurant, but when he arrived, it was a noisy night market. As soon as he entered, he was directly treated like a customer by the waiter, who brought him a bowl of rice noodles, but he hadn't ordered. He was immediately attracted by the aroma, opened it, and ate it. The chairman was curious to know who the chef was, but when he entered the kitchen, he only saw a busy figure in front of the stove. While he was engrossed, the grandfather suddenly turned around and interrupted him. Shengnan was immediately frightened. Only a spatula remained on the ground, and she disappeared. After Lu Jin moved to room 1123, and after eating all the dishes cooked in the kitchen, he only remembered the plate of Shengnan's fried rice. Manager Shen didn't dare to offend him, so he sent people to find Shengnan, calling her back to work. Only she could save the fate of the hotel. At this time, Shengnan returned to the hotel, relying on herself as the only one who conquered Lu Jin's appetite. Even while cooking, she sang and went to talk to manager Shen about the conditions, requesting a promotion from sous chef to head chef and a raise. Manager Shen had no choice but to agree one by one, and only asked her to serve the guest in room 1123. Once he ordered, even at night, she had to make it for him. He thought Shengnan would call the fastest, but he waited all day and didn't even receive a message. However, at this time, Shengnan was partying with friends, and she had forgotten everything about today. But fate is often very wonderful. Shengnan drank too much, started to get drunk, ran wildly to the next room, accidentally slipped off the balcony, and just fell into the chairman's arms. At this moment, the girl didn't realize the seriousness of the situation, and between him, she started shouting wildly. But when she clearly saw his appearance, the girl was so scared that she vomited all over the chairman, then fell to the ground and pretended to faint. Shengnan wanted to avoid compensation in this way. Chairman saw that Shengnan wouldn't wake up no matter how much he called, so he had to carry her to the bed. Looking at the pretty little face in front of him, the chairman's heart could not help but be turbulent. This was the first time he had been so close to a girl like this. After calming down, the chairman intended to take off his dirty clothes to take a shower, but Shengnan was frightened, thinking he was plotting something bad against her, and what the chairman said next also confirmed Shengnan's speculation to be true. Just as Shengnan was about to escape, she accidentally fell off the bed. The chairman heard the noise and hurried out to check. He was immediately stunned by Shengnan's posture. The chairman had no other choice but to pull her onto the bed and thoughtfully spread a pillow on the floor, afraid that Shengnan would fall off the bed again. At this time, the chairman's assistant hurried over. After seeing Shengnan's messy hair, he only praised the chairman. It turned out that the chairman thought Shengnan approached him with another purpose and asked his assistant to investigate her identity. Shengnan took advantage of the two people going out to talk, sneaked out, and took the chairman's leather shoes with her. After returning home, Shengnan complained to her best friend about her experience and swore never to see the chairman again. When she was bored in the kitchen, Lu Jin suddenly thought of the red wine theme to let the chefs freely create. He didn't expect that she had a flash of inspiration, making it exceed his expectations. With many delicious dishes, it completely captured Lu Jin's taste buds. The chairman had to meet this excellent chef. But when Shengnan thought about what she did last night, she was worried and wouldn't even meet him, and let another colleague help her to meet the chairman. She sent a dish to mock others, meaning that if the eggs are good, don't look further. Now you need to know the hen that laid them. Lu Jin was so angry that he personally went to the kitchen to catch Shengnan. At this time, Shengnan just wanted to run, met him on the road. She hid in the bathroom and disguised herself, then accidentally walked past him. But what she didn't expect was that he called her to stop. Shengnan thought that after her disguise, the chairman wouldn't recognize her. Shengnan looked at him with innocent big eyes. Lu Jin saw through it and didn't tell her the truth, but also treated her thoughtfully. The chef's hat that had fallen in a hurry was returned to her. Only after getting it did she realize that she had been exposed. Back in the kitchen, wondering if he recognized her, she received his complicated menu. Before receiving an answer, he requested her to make 10 different dishes from potatoes. Shengnan knew he was trying to get revenge on her. In desperation, she could only use her ingenuity. She tried her best to complete this task, but Lu Jin was getting more and more outrageous, arranging a long list of menus. Shengnan was busy in the kitchen until she was exhausted. Here, the chairman had a great time with his assistant, waited until dawn, and then let her go. After a period of work, Shengnan collapsed. She was tired sitting on a chair. Manager Shun came to check and saw her sleeping at her workstation. The manager woke her up, and she quickly ran out for a walk, but unexpectedly met the chairman. It turned out that Shengnan had seen this balloon, so she opened the knot. The chairman was still on the phone, hyping it up and throwing him into the pool. This action made Shengnan fed up. She hugged the bouquet to apologize to the boss, but was blocked by the assistant. At this time, the chairman was lying on the bed, his face full of worry. He didn't know what he had done in his previous life. Since he met Shengnan, he always hovered on the brink of injury. The chairman didn't know what Shengnan would do, but the assistant's words reminded him. She just wanted to cling to him. The assistant guessed, but was flatly denied by the chairman. He felt that Shengnan was sent by heaven to torture him and was his sworn enemy. But the assistant didn't think so. Born to restrain each other because of wealth and love each other. Recalling these tragic experiences, the chairman felt that Shengnan was taking action. The purpose was to attract attention, to seduce him, to confirm his guess. The chairman specially ordered the witch soup. He wanted to test Shengnan's reaction, but it turned out that the boss had thought too much. Although Shengnan was reluctant, she could only do it obediently. But she would use mushroom soup instead. After all, witch soup is food that can only be cooked between lovers. The boss waited impatiently in the room, so he ran to the kitchen to check. But Shengnan wasn't there. Only a pot of steaming soup was left on the stove. The chairman couldn't help but smell the aroma, picked up the spoon, and took a sip. He was dizzy again, knocking over all the ingredients on the table. Shengnan thought the boss came to sabotage, stepped forward, and pushed him aside. In the next second, Shengnan was pushed onto the table by the boss. Shengnan thought the chairman always wanted to harass her, but unexpectedly, he suddenly had no movement. Seeing the chairman fall to the ground, Shengnan thought that she was touching porcelain. She didn't realize it until she saw the mushroom soup. Shengnan quickly took a bowl of soapy water and poured it directly into the boss's mouth. After a while, bubbles came out of his mouth. Shengnan knew that the boss was out of danger, so she played with bubbles carelessly. But the boss at this time wanted to cry without tears because Shengnan had posted the video from last night on the group chat. Now his cold and domineering image was completely ruined. Because of that, the chairman had to wear sunglasses when going outside. Unexpectedly, there was a crowd waiting for him outside. The chairman was in a rage right now, and he didn't accept Shengnan's apology. And the manager, in order to please the boss, fired Shengnan. After returning home, Shengnan started submitting job applications everywhere, but she didn't receive any job offers. She had to face the huge compensation for medical expenses. In desperation, she could only go to the night market eatery to borrow money. But after she gave the exact amount, her grandfather was shocked. He suspected his granddaughter had caused trouble outside. Shengnan said irritably that she was unemployed. Her grandfather had no other choice but to let her stay as a kitchen helper at his food stall. He didn't expect that Shengnan would act like a good girl, demanding to be paid daily. He gritted his teeth and reluctantly agreed to her. She had no other option but to go to her grandfather's shop for help. And when the chairman was preparing for dinner, he learned that Shengnan had been fired. The manager said that the people who always made the chairman unhappy had been fired. The chairman pretended to be calm and said something against his wishes, but dinner was still necessary. So the assistant took the boss to a high-end restaurant, but since he had eaten the meal made by Shengnan, he could no longer eat outside food. The assistant had no other choice but to take him to a food stall. However, this was the small shop opened by Shengnan's grandfather. After seeing the boss, Shengnan immediately ran over and snatched his chopsticks. The two of them were talking here. Her grandfather heard it and rushed out to stop them. Only then did Shengnan give up targeting the boss. But when she was about to return to the kitchen, she saw a thug bullying a neighbor. Shengnan rushed to support her, grabbed a bottle, and threw it at the small thug. In the end, the small thug escaped, but the bottle flew straight into the back of the chairman's head. The chairman remained unresponsive in his hospital bed, ordering his assistant to settle the accounts with Sheng Nan. In the end, all the sundry items added up to 2 million yuan. This was still with Lu Jin giving a 20% discount. Looking at this huge number, she thought the boss was taking this opportunity to extort money from her, and Lu Jin told the assistant to call a lawyer. Sheng Nan panicked when she heard the word lawyer and said that she would be willing to pay back the money immediately. But now that she had no source of income, she hoped the boss could allow her to pay in installments. As soon as the words fell, the boss immediately agreed. But he also knew that Sheng Nan was still afraid, so he had his assistant draw up a contract, which stated that she had to cook for the chairman every day. Sheng Nan reluctantly signed her name. From then on, she became the chairman's private chef. Early the next morning, the chairman was eager to go to Sheng Nan's house. He saw Sheng Nan dressed like a server, following all the five-star hotel standards, which made him a bit embarrassed. He just wanted a light meal. Sheng Nan showed great respect to the chairman and even prepared a mixed red wine for him, but it was rejected by the boss because he didn't come for red wine. Seeing this, Sheng Nan had no other choice but to serve him first. The moment the lid was lifted, a puff of hot steam rose. The chairman stepped forward and sniffed, smiling with satisfaction. But after finishing the meal, he was stunned when he heard Sheng Nan calculate the cost of the meal. The chairman was shocked. He didn't expect such a simple meal would be charged at such a high price. But not wanting to haggle, Sheng Nan said that the dishes only cost 600 yuan, but the price was that the bottle of wine was something he brought himself, and she didn't give in either, charging a 20% service fee. After hearing that, he had no choice but to sign, making Sheng Nan laugh endlessly. At this rate, it wouldn't take long for her to pay off her debt. Sheng Nan clearly had thought too much. How could a domineering chairman be tricked a second time? When he came to Sheng Nan's house again, he not only brought red wine, but also brought an assistant to serve him. The assistant said that this bottle of red wine is not available on the market. The collection belongs to a private wine seller, although it is worth a lot, but the price is approximately nothing. After the assistant finished speaking, he began to open the bottle of red wine. This was enough to make Sheng Nan angry. This made Sheng Nan very frustrated. After one night, she had completely changed her image, preparing to challenge the boss's weakness. As expected, the chairman was immediately captivated by Sheng Nan. He even took a deep breath. The chairman never expected his private chef to be so beautiful. He was immediately bewitched by the female chef. But when the chairman was fantasizing about a bright future, the female chef revealed her true nature, charging the chairman the service fee from earlier. Sheng Nan's action immediately brought the boss back to reality. Sheng Nan owed the boss a lot of money, so she cooked for him to pay off the debt. And Sheng Nan today just charged him 75,000 yuan for a small plate of pastries. The assistant, hearing this, exclaimed that the boss had been deceived by a beauty trap. The boss didn't sound convinced. After hearing this, he also affirmed that he could not be tempted. The assistant understood everything and immediately thought that the boss had fallen into love. Usually, it's the uncle that's being manipulated until death. The assistant felt that the boss's current situation was very dangerous. Therefore, the assistant suggested that he should take the initiative to attack. The assistant whispered a few words in the boss's ear. Early the next morning, the chairman arrived at Sheng Nan's house with a bouquet of roses in his hand. He thought she would be moved by him, but unexpectedly, Sheng Nan directly took the roses and they were ready to be made into pastries. Faced with Sheng Nan's baffling style, the chairman was also quite speechless. But he immediately remembered Plan B. The boss smiled slightly. He had expected Sheng Nan's infatuated expression. As expected, when Sheng Nan saw the boss reading seriously, she was stunned for a moment. When he turned his head slowly, it seemed like it was settled. But he didn't expect that she would chase him out. The chairman had no other choice but to obediently go outside and wait, but accidentally fell asleep. Sheng Nan never thought the quiet, handsome boss was too much. She took out her phone to take pictures, and she slipped and fell on him. So he and she kissed directly. After being stunned for a few seconds, Sheng Nan had time to react, not expecting her first kiss to disappear like this. And the boss was also very embarrassed and quickly made an excuse to escape from Sheng Nan's house. After that, both of them seemed to have accepted this ambiguous relationship. Sheng Nan still cooked for the boss as usual, and the two happily laughed and talked together. The chairman seemed to have been infected by her optimistic personality. At this time, Sheng Nan turned around and took out a piece of sugar candy. Watching her eat with enjoyment, the boss was so tempted that he drooled. He grabbed the candies and tasted. Them, although they were very fragrant, it still didn't mean they were more delicious than the person beside him. The boss ate with his mouth full of sugar. Seeing this, Shengnan took a paper towel to help him wipe it off. At this time, the distance between the two was very close. Looking at Shengnan's blushing face, the chairman's heart was beating wildly. Suddenly, he remembered what his assistant had said. He was being passive right now. The chairman switched from passive to active. He lied that the girl had sugar crumbs left in her hair, and the chairman started wiping it off for her. But the chairman was getting closer. Clearly, he was not drunk. Shengnan had never experienced a scene like this, but the chairman was stunned. After returning home, it turned out that the female secretary, who was the chairman's ex-lover, had returned. When the secretary learned about Shengnan's existence, she began to mock the chairman, and then told him to return to Korea quickly, and the secretary turned and left. But the chairman fell in a deep thought. He still had many tasks to complete, but he met the right person at the wrong time. He heard Shengnan's message, and the chairman smiled slightly. Shengnan's vibrant and cheerful personality made up for his lonely heart. Despite all his regrets, the boss still sent a message to Shengnan. He would invite Shengnan to a farewell meal. After hearing that, she grinned, thinking the chairman wanted to date her, and immediately agreed. Shengnan happily went to the appointment and also brought amber walnuts for the boss. She was afraid he couldn't eat sweets, and Shengnan had intentionally put less sugar. But the chairman found it bitter. He thought it was better to hurt once than to hurt forever. Therefore, he decided to confess. Shengnan thought that the chairman wanted to confess his love to her, but she waited for a long time, only to receive news that the boss was about to leave. The chairman said that he would not come to Shengnan's house for dinner anymore. His work did not allow him to stay here. From then on, the two of them didn't owe each other anything. Desperately holding back her tears, after saying goodbye, she turned around and left without looking back. This beautiful love ended in failure even before it started. She couldn't help but feel emotional, reminiscing about the past moments they had shared. To escape the vortex of heartbreak, she collected all the things that the boss had used and threw them in the trash, not forgetting to punch them a few times to vent her anger before leaving. After returning home, Shengnan wanted to watch TV to kill time, but when she turned it on, it was a sweet love movie. Shengnan angrily turned off the TV, unable to stop herself from crying. After that, Shengnan seemed to be stimulated. Although she no longer needed to cook for the boss, she still went to the market every day to buy vegetables, venting all her resentment in her heart to the vendors. At this time, the chairman had arrived in a foreign country. He opened his suitcase but saw the box of walnuts that Shengnan had prepared for him. The chairman was very heartbroken, recalling the night before their separation. He felt deep regret. He knew that he couldn't do anything without Shengnan by his side. After thinking for a while, the chairman decided to give up everything to go find the one he loved. After a long night in a taxi, he finally arrived at Shengnan's house. Unexpectedly, at this time, Shengnan was saying goodbye to another man. The chairman immediately became jealous. Shengnan finished speaking and prepared to leave, but she was blocked by the boss. He could no longer contain his inner feelings. He hugged Shengnan's small face and kissed it. After being stunned for a few seconds, Shengnan reacted. She pushed the boss away, accusing him of being perverted and shameless. The chairman was speechless. Shengnan was still angry, said an apology, turned around, and ran away. This was enough to make Shengnan angry. Shengnan couldn't sleep. Her head was full of images of the boss kissing her. Actually, the guy at this time was her good friend. In Shengnan's heart, she had always liked the chairman, but she didn't dare to express her feelings. Her best friend had seen Shengnan's thoughts, so she told Shengnan to be brave. After all, she should seize a handsome and rich man like the chairman. Under her best friend's persuasion, Shengnan also mustered her courage. She cooked a pot of witch soup, which symbolized love, and ran straight to the chairman's house. But unexpectedly, it was closed. It turned out that the chairman thought Shengnan had a new lover. Feeling frustrated, he decided to leave. Knowing the situation, Shengnan rushed to the airport, but in the end, it was too late. At this time, a passerby accidentally bumped into Shengnan, and the witch soup in her hand also fell to the ground. Shengnan burst into tears. Maybe this indicated that she had no fate with the boss. But just as Shengnan was about to pick it up, someone went ahead of her. It was the handsome and domineering chairman. It turned out that he had asked the driver to circle around Shengnan's house almost all day, finally missing his plane and high-speed train, and finally found love. The chairman thought that from now on he could live a happy life, but unexpectedly, something happened the next day. The chairman woke up. he found that Li Man was cooking. The two of them had grown up together. Actually, there was nothing wrong with cooking a meal, but she made a witch soup. The chairman knew her thoughts, but he couldn't accept it. Sheng Nan entered the room with a cake. Seeing this, the chairman hurriedly introduced them to each other. In order not to make Li Man sad, he did not admit that Sheng Nan was his girlfriend, but Li Man acted like a hostess to her. She thanked Sheng Nan for sending the cake and gave her a thick red envelope. The boss didn't say a word when he saw it. Sheng Nan couldn't stand the insult. She sent a blessing to them. After speaking, Sheng Nan calmly and forcefully ran out of the room. But when she got home, she couldn't hold back her tears. Sheng Nan cried to the point of distraction. Seeing this, her best friend quickly comforted her, saying that the two of them didn't sleep together. It wasn't a big deal. But the chairman's assistant thought that Sheng Nan's situation was very dangerous, because Li Man was not only the chairman's secretary, but she was also the daughter-in-law chosen by the chairman's mother. As soon as she heard the words, Sheng Nan collapsed immediately. She didn't think she was a match for Li Man at all. At this time, Sheng Nan's love rival was making love to the chairman. Li Man deserved to be the leader of the female chef world. The Wellington steak she made was like a work of art. Under Li Man's expectant gaze, the chairman also took a sip to save face. Li Man was very happy. At this time, Li Man took out Sheng Nan's cake, thinking the chairman would also refuse it, but what she didn't expect was that he ate it happily. This made Li Man feel very embarrassed. But on this side, Sheng Nan couldn't sleep. She had reviewed all of Li Man's files. Unexpectedly, the more she looked, the more panicked she became. Sheng Nan felt that she was completely no match for Li Man, feeling frustrated. She wanted to withdraw from this relationship. But Sheng Nan didn't expect Li Man to have no intention of letting her go, and also asked Sheng Nan to cook for the chairman. Seeing the chairman eat with relish, Li Man then deliberately made things difficult for Sheng Nan. She called Sheng Nan over, accusing Sheng Nan of mixing ingredients haphazardly. On the surface, Li Man was discussing cooking with Sheng Nan, but was actually mocking her for being a toad who wanted to eat swan meat. She wanted to fly on a branch and become a phoenix. Sheng Nan naturally heard Li Man's implication, but she wouldn't let it go, fighting back with cooking ingredients, making Li Man stunned for a moment. But the other person had turned her back and left without looking back. She ran into the kitchen in a huff. But at this time, the boss walked by. He had no idea that the two women were fighting over him. He thought that Li Man was only discussing cooking with Sheng Nan, and that Sheng Nan shouldn't be hostile to Li Man. At this time, the chairman was still very simple-minded, reasoning with Sheng Nan. Unexpectedly, Sheng Nan was completely angered, making the chairman confused. He thought there was a problem with Sheng Nan's understanding. He hoped that she could look at it with the thinking of a normal person. But the chairman didn't know that it was just a woman's expression of jealousy. After that, Sheng Nan exploded immediately after hearing this. At this time, the chairman didn't realize the seriousness of the situation and said that Sheng Nan was making a fuss. Before leaving, he even said she was very childish. But after returning home, he regretted it. To win back his lover, the chairman moved right next to her house. As soon as Sheng Nan went outside to take out the trash, she just saw the boss stepping out. This made her excited. She immediately returned to her room and changed her appearance. Then she opened the door in a pose that she thought was elegant. Sheng Nan was thrilled to be teased. Lu Jin brought Sheng Nan a cake as a gift. Seeing Sheng Nan looking at him seductively, in the next second, his eyes widened and he was speechless. Lu Jin saw that the plan was successful, took the opportunity and brought vegetables in, entered Sheng Nan's house to cook with her. Ziqian happened to come to see Sheng Nan. The chairman and director of the hotel were very serious and asked why the chairman was in this small place. The chairman, hearing this, was embarrassed for a moment. Not knowing how to explain, he went out and entered his own house. Ziqian came here to invite Sheng Nan to a restaurant in Beijing to participate in a chef training course. Sheng Nan agreed and prepared to go. Even the two arrived, and then all three of them took a picture. Sheng Nan was in the moment, and the assistant quickly sent it to the chairman. After seeing the two people in the picture very close, Lu Jin suddenly became jealous. Only then did he realize that even his calls were being rejected. Lu Jin immediately decided to rush to Beijing. After Sheng Nan studied hard for a day, Ziqian took her out to play. Lu Jin and his assistant disguised themselves and followed closely behind. Watching the two of them acting intimately on the way, his vinegar pot was about to spill. Sheng Nan, along with Ziqian, had a great day. Returning to the hotel, they were tired and sleepy. Ziqian helped her into the room to rest. Lu Jin and his assistant also followed behind. They stayed in the room next door. After seeing Zi Qian enter Nan's room, Lu Jin worried like an ant on a hot pan. The assistant had an idea to arrange a hotel staff member. The staff member came to ask about the situation. Taking the opportunity, Zi Qian opened the door to look inside, then turned around and reported the situation to the chairman. But Lu Jin thought that the staff member's questions were not detailed. The assistant had no other choice but to add more money to the person so that he would go again. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door, and standing behind him was an aggressive Nan. Nan couldn't stand the chairman anymore and rushed in. Lu Jin had nowhere to hide and was caught. The scene was awkward for a moment. In his confusion, to give the two of them some private space, seeing that he had been exposed, the chairman couldn't say anything. Nan couldn't wait for his love. She turned her head and left the room. Lu Jin hurriedly chased her outside, regardless of his image, confessing his love to Nan in the hallway. Their actions attracted attention, and hotel staff rushed over. They heard that the famous Chairman Lu had come to the hotel for a private visit. Through the crowd, the two looked at each other from afar, not forgetting to show their love for each other. They didn't care about the people around them. Nan rested at home for a day, and then went into the kitchen to work, full of energy. Zi Qian just came to announce the new work. The chairman of Lu Group had acquired the hotel. It was Lu Jin's mother, who was coming to inspect the work. A new chef would be selected based on the dishes. Nan thought this was a great opportunity for promotion, so that she could get out of the kitchen where she was being suppressed by others. After everyone in the kitchen left, at night, she began working alone, so busy that she forgot about Lu Jin. He waited for her to have dinner at home. She didn't call him until the dish was ready. The chairman played the guinea pig to help her try the food. Nan asked him for advice. Lu Jin was naturally satisfied with her skills, but she was just an ordinary person, pursuing perfection too much, and successful people like his mother were used to too much perfection, and they were numb to these dishes. Lu Jin then talked about how his mother had taken him to experience different dishes along the way. Nan listened to his words. She suddenly had an idea. The conversation between the two was also overheard by Nan's competitor. Since Lu Jin moved to live near Nan, he even took the initiative to go grocery shopping and cook. When he was on his way home, he happened to see Zi Qian holding a bouquet of roses to meet Nan. He honestly didn't want the two of them to meet, so he had no choice but to lie and say that Nan was away on a business trip. Then he took the bouquet from him and went off with it. In a moment of unintentional pushing, as they were coming down the stairs, Lu Jin's lie was exposed. Nan mercilessly called him out, turned around, and warmly invited Zi Qian upstairs. The chairman awkwardly stood there, seeing the two of them ignore him. In this way, Nan's family couldn't explain it. It was a scene of two men fighting for favor. Zi Qian and Lu Jin couldn't understand each other, even secretly competing while eating cake. Nan watched the two of them devour food, disgust written all over her face. Nan had been very angry with Li Man before and disliked her. Li Man then ran to Lu Jin's mother, complaining in front of her. Although she didn't directly choose Lu Jin was in love with Nan. But Chairman Lu understood her intentions, and then ordered Li Man to book a flight home. She wanted to meet the woman who had infatuated her son. Before long, she arrived. Lu Jin talked with his mother about the problems in his relationship, and the two started to argue. No matter what his mother said, he loved Nan, regardless of the words. Seeing her son so infatuated with this woman, Chairman Lu didn't say anything else and asked Lu Jin to arrange for her to come home. Nan heard that she would soon meet Lu Jin's mother, and she was so nervous that she couldn't even speak clearly. Unexpectedly, Nan sought out her uncle and her best friend, and then they started teaching her some skills. The second day, Nan began to get dressed up, putting her hair up in a mature style, like a 30-year-old intellectual woman. Even Lu Jin felt a little intimidated by this outfit. Finally meeting Lu Jin's mother, she sat down properly, preparing for a confrontational stance with Chairman Lu. No matter what she asked, Nan was able to answer calmly with a smile. Until Chairman Lu asked the most classic question, how much would it take for her to leave my son? Nan really didn't know how to answer. Although she had her priorities, Lu Jin couldn't be sold like a commodity. In desperation, she remembered Li Man's words, then politely excused herself and left. In the evening, Lu Jin rushed to her place, and he comforted her. Nan generously expressed that she didn't care. On the contrary, she felt tired of the feelings she had for him. The hotel chef selection started the next day. and Chairman Liu and Li Man were the judges. A busy scene in the kitchen. Everyone was showing off their own cooking skills, and the dishes were all different. Finally, Manager Shin announced that Sheng Nan had become the head chef. The other chefs were not satisfied, bad-mouthing her behind her back. The first thing Sheng Nan did after getting promoted was to invite Lu Jin to dinner. Lu Jin thought that it would just be the two of them having dinner together, so he cleaned himself up and went on the date. At this time, Sheng Nan's restaurant was turning away customers, and Sheng Nan said that she would treat Lu Jin to dinner. Everyone gathered around several tables, drinking beer and eating melon seeds and peanuts. Grandpa proudly announced to everyone that his beloved granddaughter had become the head chef of a 5-star hotel, finally not forgetting to introduce Lu Jin as the owner of the hotel, a young man in front of everyone. The public asked if the two were in love, and Lu Jin then solemnly admitted it. Grandpa told Sheng Nan to go toast at another table, turned back and started to inquire about Lu Jin's age and health, and repeatedly told Lu Jin to urge Sheng Nan to pay him back his money. Lu Jin suddenly felt that his grandfather-in-law had unusual joy. After that, Sheng Nan's relatives came to please him. Even the chicken feet vendor was talking business with him, which gave him a different perspective. Lu Jin was a bit overwhelmed, but the party had left him aside, and they were having a great time playing with their friends. Sheng Nan's uncle took the initiative to sit next to him, telling him about Sheng Nan's childhood. It turned out that from a young age, she had never received care from her parents and had lived with her grandfather at his food stall. The reason why Sheng Nan's uncle was telling him all this was so that Lu Jin wouldn't bully Sheng Nan. At this moment, Lu Jin's heart and eyes were welling up with tears, hearing Sheng Nan's joyful cheers, and they sparkled in his eyes. Afterwards, he took a drunk Sheng Nan home. He had to cook for her himself. Sheng Nan was so hungry that she couldn't stand it, ate a pack of instant noodles with a dipping sauce, eating it dry. Lu Jin thought it was unbelievable, carefully picking up a piece and trying it. It turned out to be delicious, and he was even happier that he chose to stay with Sheng Nan. He couldn't help but feel embarrassed after saying this. After rushing into the kitchen, he was satisfied and started cooking. The next day, Zi Qian came to pick her up to go to work, but intentionally said that he happened to meet her on the way. Zi Qian mentioned that when the chef was selected that day, Li Man admired her, and he didn't know that the two had an understanding before, and liked Li Man even more when they were classmates. When Sheng Nan thought about comparing herself to Li Man, the more she listened, the more upset she became. Telling Zi Qian to pull over and stop the car, she stubbornly rode her bike to work. This scene was accidentally seen by a colleague, who immediately ran to the kitchen to gossip about her supporter. The reason Sheng Nan had arranged for them to prepare dinner for Chairman Liu. Unexpectedly, one of them refused to cooperate, and she shouted angrily. This man had always been against her, and in anger with Sheng Nan then took off his apron and left. Seeing this scene, Sheng Nan then realized the journey of a chef is very difficult. Lu Jin was waiting for her to get off work at the door, but she ignored him and closed the door. Lu Jin coaxed her outside the door, all to no avail. He then called his assistant for help, but at this time, the assistant was busy taking care of himself. Since he had become acquainted with Sheng Nan's best friend, after meeting her a few times, he had fallen in love with her. The assistant was pondering his words, determined to change his ways and work hard. So, instead of being idle all day, he was following his boss around, asking for leave to learn Indonesian. Xinjia was focusing on his class and busy, and did not answer Lu Jin's call. After class, he saw Zhao Di and a foreign man having a heated conversation, also walking out of the mall together. Xinjia saw this and immediately chased after them. Lu Jin's fruitless search for help from his assistant left him with no other option but to ask Sheng Nan personally how to make her happy. Sheng Nan thought for a long time and finally took him to the market. She wanted to vent her sadness. The vegetable market vendors knew that Sheng Nan was notoriously difficult to deal with. So when they saw a man in a suit and leather shoes beside her, they immediately praised him for being handsome. Sure enough, when Lu Jin heard others praising him, he immediately became arrogant and was willing to buy at a high price. The duck egg seller took the opportunity to ask for a high price. Sheng Nan calmly moved a stool, and she took out the lie detector she carried with her. With the screeching sound of the lie detector, all the surrounding customers were looking this way, and seeing this, the seller quickly lowered his price. In this way, Sheng Nan easily bought 6 duck eggs at the lowest price. Lu Jin watched her like this, finding it very amusing. He increasingly felt that she could go anywhere. But after Sheng Nan left, he generously made up the price difference for the vendor. Just like this going, Through the vegetable market, Shengnan scanned with a lie detector, followed by Chairman Liu, who also made a difference in price. The two of them became one after the other a unique act. In the night, the fish tank outside and the street lights in the stairwell, they flickered. Both of them were reluctant to part ways in front of Shengnan's door. Suddenly, it was dark, and the two couldn't restrain their excitement and prepared to kiss. The lights turned on at the wrong time. Immediately after, Shengnan's bag, the lie detector, went off, and both of them were flustered, but no one wanted to leave. Finally, waiting until the next light went off to go into position, the lights turned on again immediately, followed by the neighbor's cough. After being interrupted many times, the two lost interest, and he had to go home with regret. The next day, under Shengnan's arrangements, Chairman Jing's lunch started normally. Lu Jin, who was not invited, also participated. His mother had long been dissatisfied with his liking for Shengnan, and they even mocked her by not eating the dishes she had cooked. Lu Jin was motionless. Shengnan carefully prepared delicious food in the kitchen, and after talking about the final step, she came here to explain to everyone on the spot. But when she opened the dish, it looked terrible. Clearly this dish had been switched. Shengnan hurriedly explained, but Chairman Zheng showed her displeasure. She coldly said a few words and got up to leave. At this time, the kitchen had already exploded, and her enemy, Chef Yu, directly called her name. Shengnan was intentionally venting her dissatisfaction. She wanted to implicate all the staff in the kitchen. Shengnan was speechless. Soon after, Lu Jin came to comfort her, telling her to go home and rest, and that he would handle it. He and Ziqian called Shengnan's disciples over, and after asking about the relevant situation, then found Chef Yu. The truth was a lie. Every step of the way, Chef Yu didn't know it was a trap, saying that he was very jealous of Shengnan and had switched her dish. Finally, when he yelled in desperation, admitting that he had switched Shengnan's dish, Lu Jin directly announced his dismissal. Lu Jin went to find Shengnan, relaxed and couldn't wait to tell her the truth. But he saw her coming down the stairs in a panic. It turned out that Zhao Di and Uncle were helping her demand justice, directly running to the gate of the Seoul villa where Lu Jin's mother was causing trouble. Lu Jin hurriedly went with Shengnan, rushing to the scene, which was out of control. After Lu Jin arrived, he calmed the anger of the two groups, after persuading Shengnan and the others to go home, and gently comforting his mother. Chairman Zheng decided to invite Shengnan to dinner, so she could explain. At this time, Shengnan, who had officially become a chef, was full of energy. The entire back kitchen also became lively, and everyone no longer had prejudices against her. Lu Jin excitedly conveyed that his mother wanted to apologize to her, willing to invite her to dinner and make peace. But when she thought of Chairman Zheng's imposing manner, she had lingering fears. She could only say in a roundabout way that she would consider it. Since Xinjie had seen Zhao Di hanging out with another man, only angry, he excitedly sought out Shengnan's Uncle Lin, asking for details about Zhao Di. But what Uncle Lin cared about was whether he loved Zhao Di or not. On the other hand, Zhao Di was in a nightclub. Because she couldn't get out of her ex-boyfriend's entanglement, she called Uncle Lin, asking him to pick her up. Uncle Lin got all dressed up, appearing in front of the two. Lu Jin thought that his mother really wanted to invite his girlfriend to dinner and make peace with her, and was happy to take her to the banquet. But as soon as they walked in, he saw a lot of people sitting there in the dark. Even Li Man, the scheming woman who admired Lu Jin, was there. As soon as Shengnan came to greet Chairman Zheng, she appeared in front of the public, mocking Shengnan for being a chef, making it impossible for her to step down. Lu Jin wanted to pull her to sit next to him, but Li Man stepped in and arranged for her to sit next to her. She saw that Ziqian was also here, and Li Man intentionally cut across her and chatted with Ziqian about work. Shengnan was caught in the middle, restless, and then she still encouraged her to apologize to Chairman Zheng, but not telling her that everyone couldn't drink alcohol, so Li Man naturally blocked the wine for her, not only gaining performance, they even treated Shengnan like a monkey. Chairman Zheng politely asked Shengnan to demonstrate her cooking skills. Such occasions she was not good at, refusing, only biting the bullet, taking over the tools from the chef. Lu Jin was very upset about this, and he suggested that Li Man should also come to help Shengnan. Chairman Zheng blocked this and said that Li Man's background wouldn't allow her to do this. Hearing this, he immediately took off his jacket and went up and picked up the cooking knife with Shengnan. She couldn't bear this humiliation. Shengnan held back her tears and left. Lu Jin looked at everyone present in a hostile manner, the arrogant Chairman Zheng and Li Man just now, and now they were also silent. Then he also left. Shengnan cried a lot in the taxi, and she walked home alone on the road. She suddenly felt like someone was watching. For looking back, it was the one who had been fired, Chef Yu. He picked up a bottle and was about to throw it at Shengnan. At the critical moment, Lu Jin stood in front of her and protected her. This was the second time he had been hit by a beer bottle. After Chef Yu was beaten, in desperation, all of Shengnan's grievances scolded at him. The long alleyway was dark, and this time both of them generously kissed each other, disregarding the eyes of others, holding him tightly, as if everything had vanished. And her best friend, Zhao Di, was not so lucky because she was with a multiracial man. Xian Jie lingered, following the two people. He happened to overhear. He was a philandering player, and behind Zhao Di's back, he immediately decided to follow him to investigate. Sure enough, he saw him walk into a hotel room. Xian Jie immediately informed Zhao Di to come and catch the cheater. He was surrounded by all kinds of women. Zhao Di originally wanted to question him, but the other side directly exposed her true nature. Zhao Di slapped him, but he slapped her back, and she fell to the ground. Seeing this, Xian Jie wanted to help teach the scoundrel a lesson, but he was cleaned up by the bodyguards first. He then threw out some money, and then took his women and left. The two remaining people looked at each other awkwardly. After this incident, Zhao Di finally saw her heart clearly. At this time, at a construction site, this young master was named Lu Zheng, but he was being incited by his mother to go with him, the half-brother of Lu Jin, to compete for family assets. Shengnan's grandpa had a heart attack and had been taken to the hospital, but the hospital had no spare beds. When she was restless, Lu Jin's father was in the same hospital and happened to see her, so he asked the hospital to arrange a VIP room for her. Lu Jin had been handling business outside, calling Shengnan but not getting a response, and he was a little upset. At this time, Lu Zheng and his mother came to the hospital to see his father, and the two were not happy. At this time, Shengnan came in with a lunchbox wanting to thank him for finding a room for her grandpa. After she left, Lu Zheng's mother was disgusted and made her son throw away this lunchbox. Lu Jin had been handling work for many consecutive days, and he intended to send a voice message to Shengnan, telling her that he would be back soon. But at this time, Li Man came and told him to change his itinerary. Unexpectedly, Shengnan's life became very busy, having to manage the restaurant during the day, the hotel kitchen, and staying by her grandpa's bedside at night. And during these days, she had not been paying attention to contacting Lu Jin. Shengnan was constantly turning, was at the food counter, tired and sleepy. In the kitchen, a customer angrily woke her up to demand a free order. The reason was that there was hair in the food he had eaten. Shengnan was in a daze, and Lu Zheng suddenly appeared and held the man who was about to run away tight. Then, he pulled a whole bundle of hair out of his pocket, and Lu Zheng was going to call the police. The man immediately confessed, paid the bill, and left. To thank him for his generous help, Shengnan made him a delicious meal. Her grandpa's surgery had been scheduled, and Shengnan had bet high. The list of surgical fees was too high. Then, she saw that the problem was serious, and Chairman Zheng was coming. She knew that Shengnan's grandpa had to be hospitalized. On the surface, she came to visit Shengnan's grandpa, but in reality, she was worried that Shengnan would drag Lu Jin back and reminded her to stay away from Lu Jin, and gave her the question along with her answer. Shengnan knew that Chairman Zheng's purpose for coming here was to warn her. Therefore, regarding Lu Jin, she had no other choice but to confront Chairman Zheng. When Lu Jin called, she held back her tears and said that everything was fine. Shengnan no longer thought about him. She seemed to have run out of hope. Ziqian just appeared at the door of her grandpa's room, and her distressed and sad expression broke his heart. Afterwards, Ziqian helped her pay her grandpa's medical expenses and also took care of him with Shengnan. Everything suddenly became easier. As a result, her grandpa's feelings for Ziqian greatly increased, and her grandpa's surgery was also successful. Finally, Shengnan sighed with relief. She thought for a long time and finally couldn't bear it anymore and called Lu Jin. On the other side, after the meeting, Lu Jin put his phone on the table, accidentally dropping it on the ground. At this time, Shengnan happened to call, but Li Man answered the phone. After being surprised, she asked Li Man to convey the message for Lu Jin to call her back. After Li Man agreed, she did the opposite, deleting her call history. Shengnan waited on the left, waited on the right, but did not wait for his call, and she could only try her best to hide the loss in her heart, smiled, and took care of her grandpa. As the person involved, Lu Jin was having an affair with Li Man, and they were strolling on love-themed streets. The two chatted about the past, and Li Man took him through the familiar streets to the restaurant where they had eaten. During dinner, she finally used wine to summon all her courage, telling Lu Jin that she liked him, but Lu Jin refused, then stood up and left. Afterwards, leaving Li Man alone, facing the table full of wine and food, secretly feeling helpless. She called him, asking him to help bring her a towel. Of course, Lu Jin understood her intention and spoke frankly with her. Li Man knew that the two had no chance of being together, so she told him that. Sheng Nan had called him earlier. Only then did Lu Jin learn about Sheng Nan's situation. As soon as he heard the news, he immediately decided to book the last flight home. On the other side, Zi Qian, because of his help, had the courage to confess his feelings to Sheng Nan. But he was politely and resolutely rejected by her. She also said that she would pay him back as soon as possible her grandpa's previous hospital expenses. Zi Qian left the hospital in loneliness, leaving only Sheng Nan sitting in the hospital, dazed in the hallway. She didn't know how long it had been. In a daze, she seemed to see, thinking day and night about Lu Jin. In fact, he was desperately looking for her. The two looked at each other and hugged each other tightly, and Sheng Nan was very excited. After a long time, she suddenly remembered Chairman Zheng's words, hurriedly pulling out of his arms. Immediately, she lost her temper with him and put on a cold face. Lu Jin didn't understand why she had such an unusual attitude. He carried her into the car. He sincerely apologized to her and hoped to be forgiven. After hearing him speak, Sheng Nan had all her grievances burst out at once. She asked Lu Jin what he thought about what his mother had said, and his answer was the same as Chairman Zheng's. Sheng Nan couldn't help but feel cold inside. Lu Jin was confused by her hot and cold attitude. He went to Uncle and asked what had happened. Uncle and analyzed everything, always determining that Sheng Nan was insecure. Lu Jin suddenly felt like a new horizon had opened up. He immediately went to visit Sheng Nan's grandpa. Her grandpa thought about his granddaughter's grievances, making everything difficult for him, but he painstakingly did each one. After that, he went to the restaurant to find Sheng Nan, spending more time with her. The respectable chairman was even willing to roll up his sleeves and help, but his clumsy service bothered all the customers. Seeing this, Sheng Nan intentionally proposed that within half an hour, a ridiculous request was to only go on a date when the restaurant was full. Lu Jin hurriedly asked his assistant to arrange it. So in less than half an hour, the restaurant was full of staff in suits. In leather shoes, it just looked like an action movie. Lu Jin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He cursed his assistant in his heart. And his performance was also praised by Aunt Wang, who went to tell Sheng Nan's grandpa completely and utterly. He immediately challenged Lu Jin. He was standing in the room with a pot and spoon in his hand, and he didn't know what kind of challenge he would face. Just now, Lu Jin and Sheng Nan went to the mall to choose clothes, and the flawless white wedding dress fascinated her. Taking advantage of Lu Jin's phone call, she put on the wedding dress and smilingly appeared in front of him. Lu Jin was inexplicably stunned and hurriedly hung up the phone. Immediately, he made an excuse to rush away. Sheng Nan was trapped by love and ran to Uncle to consult. She argued and asked Uncle to help analyze it. Zhao Di was also stunned and stepped in. Here from the clothing workshop, it had become an emotional counseling office. Lu Jin's company held a reception party. The next day, as the new chairman, Lu Jin spoke eloquently and powerfully. Suddenly, the side door opened, and Sheng Nan was wearing a blue dress. The spotlight then illuminated her, extraordinarily radiant. Lu Jin reached out to hold her and walked to the center of the stage. Introducing to all the guests, Sheng Nan was his fiancée. Chairman Zheng called her son away with a gloomy face. Here, Sheng Nan met Lu Zheng when he was bored. Then, she learned that he and Lu Jin were half-brothers, and he was forced to attend the party by his mother, not at all happy. He took Sheng Nan to hang out. Just as Lu Jin had just left, he had important work, only talking briefly with his father about buying his company. On the way home, Sheng Nan talked about Lu Zheng, making him very jealous. Sheng Nan was still asleep, and the next day, she received a call from Lu Jin's mother, who wanted to take her to the greenhouse to grow vegetables. Chairman Zheng said that she would personally grow organic vegetables for her son to eat. She thought that since Sheng Nan cared about Lu Jin, she should help pull out all the weeds in the greenhouse. Although Sheng Nan could hear what she was saying, using the weeds as a metaphor for Sheng Nan, she still obediently agreed. She went back and told Lu Jin about today's experience, and she also mentioned how she mischievously took the vegetables his mother grew. pulling them out with the weeds, and his mother's angry hair was about to stand up. But she also caught a cold and had a fever. At this time, she wanted canned fruit, but Lu Jin was worried that there were preservatives in the cans. So he personally took Xinjie to the office, canned fresh fruit, and left it with Sheng Nan until she fell asleep, working here with her. Sheng Nan woke up and saw him working so hard, and she felt very guilty. Depressed, she complained to Uncle, and immediately, she decided to personally bring lunch to Lu Jin, 3 dishes every day. Uncle reminded her not to go because she would interrupt everyone's work. Sheng Nan refused to listen to the advice and insisted on going. Sure enough, she was blocked by the security guards downstairs. Lu Jin was still trying to find every way to get his father's company, to persuade him to lend money. Lu Jin's father came to the hotel to ask for Sheng Nan's help. She always remembered him as a grandpa, the kindness of arranging the room and calling Lu Jin. But as soon as he saw his father, his expression immediately became gloomy, and the two immediately had a fierce argument. Sheng Nan was very distressed after hearing their conversation. After seeing his father, Lu Jin felt very uncomfortable. He furiously vented his frustration in the boxing gym. Sheng Nan walked in and saw that his hand was bleeding and stepped forward to stop him. Lu Jin hugged her, and she also responded to him with tears streaming down her face. In this way, the two had a passionate night together. Lu Jin received news that his father had passed away while he was showering in the morning. Everyone grieved for his father. Mrs. Lu hoped that her son would fulfill his father's last wish, to protect his company. After everyone left, Lu Jin and his mother also went to the cemetery. The grievances that had always lingered with his death had also disappeared. Lu Zheng officially took over the company, and after the renovation, the first thing he did was to go find his brother, persuading Lu Jin not to buy the company. Lu Jin hoped that he could come up with his own ideas and find a way to stop it openly. After that, he went to see Sheng Nan to complain and was just like her father, wanted to take advantage of her. The next day, she followed Lu Zheng to learn how to race cars, and they ate dessert together. Lu Zheng helped her wipe the cream from the corner of her mouth. Sheng Nan noticed something unusual and left immediately. Uncle went to see Sheng Nan for dinner, and Lu Zheng also came to her house afterwards. Uncle felt that he had fallen in love with Sheng Nan and acted a little unusual. After that, Uncle told Lu Jin about their situation, and Lu Zheng also secretly took pictures and sent them to him. Lu Jin was worried, hurriedly flew back, went straight to Sheng Nan's house, and asked about the pictures. Sheng Nan explained about herself and Lu Zheng playing with remote control cars, but the kiss in the picture must have been photoshopped. Lu Jin said, since she was his girlfriend, she had to keep a distance from his younger brother. The next day, he went to find Lu Zheng, telling him to stay away from Sheng Nan. Lu Zheng intentionally said that they had been close to provoke him. Moreover, his mother also liked Sheng Nan. Lu Jin was angry, clenched his fist, and taught him a lesson. This scene was accidentally seen by Sheng Nan. She was sad, and the two argued again. Lu Zheng was injured and gave a strange smile. Finally, he also found out his brother's weakness and prepared to use Sheng Nan to continue to deal with him. In order to consider Sheng Nan's feelings, she started to avoid Lu Zheng's entanglements everywhere. But he came to the door, hypocritically, begging for her help, and at this time, Sheng Nan's heart softened again. The two ate and drank together, and she quickly became overwhelmed and unconscious. She didn't expect that this was all done intentionally by Lu Zheng, who planned to do everything he could to deal with his brother. With ulterior motives, Lu Zheng took Sheng Nan back to Lu Jin's villa. Then, with a knife hidden in his smile, he spoke, provocatively to anger Lu Jin. Seeing such a scene, Lu Jin felt very embarrassed. Chairman Zheng, at the door, also saw this scene. She felt sorry for her son, but didn't know how to speak, and she increasingly felt dissatisfied with Sheng Nan. Sheng Nan woke up the next morning and found that she was at Lu Jin's villa. Chairman Zheng was angry, accusing her of drinking until she was unconscious and being carried back by another man. Sheng Nan wanted to explain, but was stopped by her, and she was told to explain to Lu Jin. Sheng Nan couldn't find Lu Jin, so she had to ask Lu Zheng for help. She hoped that he would come forward to clarify the truth. Unexpectedly, Lu Zheng outwardly readily agreed. But as a result, the more he helped, the more Lu Jin witnessed her falling into his younger brother's arms. Sheng Nan was sad that Lu Jin ignored her. Lu Zheng offered to take her to talk to his brother, but she didn't know that was his plan. Lu Jin saw Sheng Nan being brought by Lu Zheng and was furious. The two argued many times, and Lu Jin suggested that She calmed down. Lu Zheng intentionally added fuel to the fire to remind her that this meant breaking up. He suggested that Sheng Nan travel to relax, and he was also willing to help her feed her little turtle. She really didn't think much about it and gave him the spare key. Lu Jin came to visit, but saw Lu Zheng actually at Sheng Nan's house. The second day, the battle for the company officially began. Zheng Corporation joined the Lu family as a new investor. Before the meeting, Lu Zheng quietly told his brother that night when he took Sheng Nan to the villa alone, if anything had happened, it would be easy. He even emphasized that Sheng Nan was a woman, to anger Lu Jin into stopping the acquisition. Lu Jin suppressed his anger and entered the meeting room. According to the company's latest situation, the shares had been owned by Zheng Corporation, more than 50% of the shares. The topic of today's meeting was to re-elect the chairman. Lu Jin was nominated to be the new chairman, but Lu Zheng laughed strangely below. Lu Zheng was as if he had victory in his grasp. It was difficult for Lu Jin to see. After a moment of silence, he asked everyone to leave the meeting room first, and he had to talk to his younger brother alone. Lu Zheng talked about getting involved with Sheng Nan, and he really wanted to use Sheng Nan to defeat his brother. Lu Jin told him that in business, there must be wisdom. He bowed his head in frustration, unwillingly, and asked Lu Jin when he knew he had a plan. Lu Jin recalled the day he argued with Sheng Nan. He hugged the sleeping Sheng Nan and cried, but accidentally saw her phone's information. It turned out that the things she had done were an effort to restore their brotherhood. But Lu Zheng intentionally used her kindness to defeat him. He had understood that Lu Zheng was playing tricks behind his back. Lu Jin had won a great victory and hurriedly went to find Sheng Nan. And now she was still angry. He had ignored her before. Lu Jin hugged her and begged for forgiveness. Then he carried her into the bedroom. When the two woke up the next morning, Lu Jin thoughtfully wanted to help Sheng Nan tie her hair. He also took out the spoon he had picked up at the restaurant earlier. Sheng Nan was very surprised. Lu Jin said that the two of them met in the kitchen of the restaurant. At this time, Lu Zheng was very bored and went back to the construction site and drove a crane. Lu Jin found him and wanted to give back his father's company. The overall power had been given to him. The two brothers also reunited. Chairman Zheng, on this side, met with Sheng Nan privately, telling her that she was going back to Switzerland. She also hoped that Lu Jin could return with her. Sheng Nan at this time didn't want Lu Jin to be in a choice between his mother and her. Afterwards, she sadly said that she would quit her job. Before leaving, she hoped that Chairman Zheng could understand that her happiness was given to her by herself. Lu Jin called Sheng Nan on the way home, getting her into a difficult situation, and she didn't answer. Then, she packed her luggage and prepared to leave. At this time, Lu Jin arrived in time to take her away, and they returned to the villa together. In fact, all of this was a test by Chairman Zheng. Finally, she accepted her daughter-in-law, Sheng Nan, and went to cook for her, making a delicious meal. Soon after, Sheng Nan's own restaurant opened, and its name was Like You. Lu Jin was righteously bullied by her again, being pushed around. Xi and Jie and Zhao Di showed up, and as soon as they arrived, they threw out their marriage certificate. And Li Man and Zi Qian also appeared together. Everyone joked that they had only the purest working relationship. Uncle Lin also arrived with his lover by his side. After the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Lu Jin pulled Sheng Nan, and together they blew out the candles on a cake shaped like a sports car. A huge diamond ring appeared. He seriously proposed to her. The two happily blew the baking flour, and the scene was exactly the same as the first time they met. The movie comes to an end here. Thank you all for watching. Click subscribe to see more great movies.